Hey everybody, welcome back. Cindy Daychuk with Queen Bee Creations. We started this piece yesterday, did two-tone finish using DIY paints. DIY is a clay-based paint, so they blend wonderfully. The bottom is in Little Black Dress, which is of course black. The top is Bohemian Blue, which is of course blue. I wanted a simple paint finish because since this piece was all just flat space, I wanted to take advantage of doing a transfer for a change. I haven't been on here and showed you guys a transfer, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to do something a little bit different. Yesterday I showed you two different transfer options. One which was a Prima Design one, which was called Algae, which is not the most appealing title, I just have to say. But it was in blues and creams, and we would have had one big panel here and here, and then maybe cut up some of the others on here. It did not get as many votes as did the Bohemian transfer, which is from IOD, Iron Orchid Designs. Now, this comes as one big transfer, but I have cut it up into different strips. So rather than doing one big heavy transfer across the bottom, I really thought it made more sense to be able to cut it up in pieces, be able to then mix and match the design a little bit, see where we wanted to put them, and play with it a little bit. And that's one of the things to keep in mind with the transfers. As much as they come in one sheet, and a lot of them, especially the florals, are set up to be one display that you could just put across and apply. You kind of make them your own by cutting them apart, mixing and matching a little bit, having some fun with them. And you can take pieces from one stencil, from one transfer, and use it with another. You know, you're not locked into using them individually as they are. But when we're looking at using transfers, they come with a backing sheet, and that's to protect the transfer itself. You're going to remove that, and mine is totally released, so not a problem getting rid of that. But now we have the actual transfer, and this is not sticky, but it does like to adhere to stuff. So once you kind of put it in place, it's not something that once you get started is going to want to remove. Now, if it hasn't all detached and you want to be able to stop and be able to move it elsewhere, that's all good. That's all well and good. This one I've cut to size already. And what I am going to do is just kind of roughly tape it in place so that it doesn't shift on me. Oh, let's get that a little bit higher because that's over top of my design a bit. There we go. And I'm just using painter's tape so that I don't lose any of the finish. But this is shifted over. It comes with this handy dandy little tool. It's kind of a plastic rounded edge device. And what you're going to do is just kind of rub this off. I remember doing this as a kid. We had those rub off fake tattoos, right? Before they came out with the water soluble ones. But with this, we are rubbing over it, not with tons of pressure, but with enough so that we are getting it to release from the acetate, from the plastic acetate, and adhere onto our surface. Now, one of the things that I had said yesterday was that I wanted to put the second coat on last night so that it had a full night to be able to dry out and cure. If this isn't fully dry, what you'll find is that the transfer won't stick as easily, and it may actually pull up some of your paint. And if you have that happening, it is best to just stop, let the piece dry some more, and then go back at it. I must admit there's some times that I've been impatient and I've had that happen, and what I've ended up doing is stopped, and then the piece of the film that still had the transfer attached, it's kind of detached, and had my paint attached, I then put wood glue on the back and stuck it back onto my piece and kind of patched it up. So a couple of little tricks to be able to make it work. Now, one of the things that you can do, because just staring at it, you're kind of going, yeah, I think it's all good, I think it's attached, is to detach just one side. And then you can kind of lift up to be able to see whether or not it actually has adhered or not. The piece at the top doesn't want to stick. Okay. So you can see that it doesn't take tons of work, although it feels like tons of work getting it off. It doesn't take tons of work necessarily to be able to get some fairly detailed patterning, and especially for someone like me who is not necessarily into painting florals. If I wanted to get flowers on a piece, then this is a great way to go, because they're going to look way better than anything that I would come up with on my own, that's for sure. So you don't have to necessarily have a truly artistic skill or ability to be able to add some detail to your piece with these transfers. The one thing that I do like, though, is when you do kind of break the transfer up and you use it in different ways, so that when people look at your piece, they're not seeing exact same transfer that they've seen on multiple other pieces. So that adds kind of a nice note, but it also shows a little bit more creativity, and it just looks a little bit more unique, even though this was kind of a purchased item. You just use it in ways that maybe other people didn't, or that then add a little bit more of a unique element to the piece you're creating. So we're almost there on this one. And you're almost kind of here when it starts to separate out and it wants to detach. But what's nice is that you're able to see kind of where you need to exert a little bit more pressure, where you need to add it where you haven't covered it. So it's not like this one shot spot where you missed a bunch of spots and now you're out of luck. If you do detach the acetate and you still have some of the transfer adhering to it, you can just go back and lay that over where you want to put that missing piece. Maybe sometimes with some of the florals you end up with little tips of leaves or things like that maybe you missed, and if you want to have them on there, then no problem, you can go back and you can be able to add them. Just lay the acetate over. This little corner doesn't want to go. Let me realign it. And we're good. Okay, now one of the things that you're going to want to do is just lightly kind of take your hands and rub down over top of the transfer, just making sure that it's all adhered. I can see right here that that's off the acetate. That piece down here hadn't really attached onto my furniture as much as I would like. So just kind of go back and burnish. You can take a soft cloth and do this as well. I just tend to use my hands for a lot of things. And you want to feel that as you go over it, that there's nothing that's rippling up, there's no air bubbles, that it's all kind of adhered down. Now these transfers too, once they're on your piece, you can lightly sand them if you'd like. You can add any of your finishing waxes to be able to age them a little bit. So you can still distress, you can still age, you can still lightly sand to be able to break them up, maybe make them look a little bit less perfect so they're not exactly like what you saw on the template. And then you're going to finish off your piece whichever way you would normally prefer to be able to finish it off. So whether or not that's using a poly, whether or not it's using a wax, either work perfect for this. You're just going to want to definitely finish off. Now some people will apply a poly to their piece and then add the transfer and then poly over it again. And that's perfectly fine to do. The transfers like to attach to poly, and there's some people that feel that they can never get it to release onto just paint. I find that I'm fine to release it onto paint if I've let the paint dry. So if the paint isn't fully dry, then I have trouble being able to get the transfer to stick. But if the paint is dry, I really don't have an issue. So you can see with this already how quickly it's starting to take a fairly plain, kind of boring little piece and turning it into something just a little bit more special. So what my plan is, because you don't necessarily need to be online watching me do this the whole time, I'm going to add this same piece over onto the other side and then take some of these bandings, and you end up with all these little scraps of garbage. Take some of these other bands and apply them. And I'm just going to kind of play with it a little bit once I have this on as to how I want to do this, right? So whether I want in the middle, whether I want them top down, whether I want to have them coming across. This one, at least I cut this specifically so it still had the little black edging just like this piece does, so that if I had wanted to go across the bottom with it, it would still coordinate because it's got that same little black edging. And I'd be able to do that, and we'll see how it goes. You know, I've got this thin little band as well that I cut off of the bottom of the piece that I might be able to use as some trim work across the top of the drawers, which I'm thinking probably I'll do. In which case, right now, all I'm going to do is start kind of cutting it and seeing how it goes. I want to get this piece on the bottom, and then that'll give me a better feel for where I go with some of the other pieces, right? Sandy, having some, you know what? I got to tell you, there's a lot of people having connectivity issues with the internet right now, that everybody in the free world is home and they're on the internet. So I know that there's some folks that I watch often, and man, they were on YouTube and they were just buffering the whole time. That it was just always out of focus, and it was buffering just because there's just so many people on the internet, and you know, people are getting off the Wi-Fi, but even being on LTE isn't giving them the consistency that they want, just because everybody's on Netflix. I don't know. They're all doing something. So The nice thing about these transfers then is that you can dress up a piece fairly quickly, fairly easily, be able to get something that's pretty colorful and kind of unique. Just looking for my proper edge and where this goes to. Now these transfers happen to be awesome because they come with a little bit of a cutting grid. You guys see the cutting grid lines? So it makes it a lot easier than some of the other transfers that do not have that, for if you are looking to piece this out. Now, this ends up being a piece that I'm probably not going to use, right? I keep all of this stuff. Don't ever throw that away, because as much as it doesn't look like it's enough to be able to do something with, you know, I will paint up pots, and you can use it to decorate the pots, put the transfer on, covered over with poly. You might just need a little something on a piece, maybe around, there's only 2 drawers, and you want to have that just under where the hardware is maybe. There's always something that comes up. So, you know, I'm just cheap enough that you pay good money for these things. You hang on to them, right? So let me just kind of tape some of these up. We know that's where this one's going to go, so that it matches the other. Oh my goodness, I don't know if you can hear my dog wheezing in the background. Poor wee thing. Okay, so we know that one's going there. That's part of the look that we're after, right? Sandy, yeah. So cute little piece to use on a birdhouse, absolutely, right? Like you've got 2 solid pieces there that would work. And you're going to end up with some of these other trim pieces too. So you have lots of other coordinating pieces to be able to play with for sure. You just want to make sure that when you're storing them that backing stays attached. So usually, because, and I'm going to do it while I'm talking about it, so I'll show you what I do, is that, you know, this is just flopping off of it. And if this flops off and I put it somewhere, it's going to get all scratched up. So usually what I do is I will just tape them together, right? So it's off the pattern. It's not going to ruin my pattern, my backing in any way, but it just makes sure that it's protected now. And I'm not going to wreck that little piece of transfer because it's floating around in my office somewhere. And usually I have one tube, one of these kind of empty tubes, because they're really solid, good design. And I just label it saying transfer pieces, and I put all of my loose pieces in there, so that when I'm looking for a little something to be able to dress something up, or I'm painting over a vase, or, you know, whatever it happens to be, maybe it's a picture frame and I want a little something on the edging, then I just go into the pieces and I'm able to see, you know, maybe I have some odd little flowers, maybe I have some of these kinds of edgings and trims, but it's a great way to be able to keep them and keep them safe. Okay, so we know that's going there. I'm thinking, and this piece just likes to unravel, get all sticky everywhere. I'm thinking that this piece, because it's got that black edging, likely is going to go across here, right? I'm not going to cut it yet because I'm not sure. So that piece may go across here. And this is, let's get that to stay. It's got too much weight going down. And I don't want it to, I don't want to lose the white backing, otherwise it'll be staying there whether I wanted it to or not. So let me get the tape so it just at least catches a little bit of that backing for me. There we go. So this is often what I end up doing, is just sticking things all over just to be able to get a sense of how that's going to look. I'm not sold on that, to tell you the truth. Not too sure. Jackie, sorry if you've been asked this before, but what are the name or brand of those transfers? Okay, this particular transfer is called Bohemian Border by IOD, so Iron Orchid Designs. Really popular make. This is one of the most popular. This and the Prima Design, right? They're redesigned by Prima. They're the two most popular patterns. And your paint supplier is going to carry one or the other. They won't carry both because they're competitors and they're not allowed to. So you're going to have them that carry one or the other. And this one is by IOD, called Bohemian. And I love it, and I've been looking for an excuse to use it. So this seems like the perfect time. Now, I am thinking that this little border, which I cut off the bottom of it, would maybe go across the top here.
Did you see Jackie's note?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. So I would have enough of it to do the top of both those cabinets. I would not have enough to do a strip here. Well, and that's another option. I'm just trying to think. The drop pulls on this. So let's do this. I'm kind of thinking this starts to look a little heavy on the drawers. I'm thinking. So where I'm sort of hesitating with this, I think I'll do the two cabinet doors first. And I just started to think about whether I like the idea of doing something just around where the drop pulls are so that there's not as much happening in the center drawers. But it's kind of...
Jackie said, thanks so much. I'm new to this. Glad I found you on social media. And Sandy says, yes, I like the top one.
Yeah. I like the little part on the top. And let's maybe do that over on this side and see what the door's going to look like. So here's my thinking. As I had that one here, it started to look really heavy. So I'm not sure. I think what I'm going to want to do is do both of these two cabinet doors, and then we can play with these and see. Because one option, these have little drop pulls, and I'm going to, and then just two tiny little metal knobs. And they were in a bright silver. I'm going to refinish them. And either, originally I was thinking a matte black, and I'm still maybe sitting with that. But I am thinking that I may be adding a little bit of gold to this finished piece, right? Once I have all this stuff on, we'll see how it goes. But I'm thinking we may want a little, with the Bohemian, we may want a little bling. You know, not too much, and not a solid gold, but using the DIY golden ticket, which is a translucent gold, right? Rachel, hi, nice to see you here. So yeah, I'm thinking this. That's working for me. Okay, let's go with that. Nice that you guys are part of the creative process here. But you know what? I gotta tell you, it's not like you typically know 100%. I knew on this piece that I wanted to do transfers for a change. Didn't know which transfer, so gave you guys all a vote. So this is because of you. But I will say, out of the two, I had said that I had a favorite. This was my favorite one to try with it. Just again, because I've been dying to try this on a piece anyway, and this seemed like the perfect piece because it's so flat. You know, I'd have to have added something to it, either done a really involved, multi-layered, colored finish on it to add some interest, or maybe adding some moldings, or I would have had to have done something because it's kind of boring in and of itself. It really needed something. right? So Sandy, your idea, oh, and I need glasses, your idea for a clay pot, then stage it on the buffet. Ah, yeah. I could do that. I could use some of the pieces and then have my coordinating pot for it too. I just have to be able to find a clay pot during quarantine. I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting about some of this stuff that I go and I'm thinking, oh, I need to do this. And of course, there's nowhere to do that. The hardware stores, I ran out of primer, and so we're placing an order with the hardware store, and they're going, okay, we'll call you when your pickup's ready, and because they're doing the curbside thing, and that was 3 days ago. 2 days. 2. We're still waiting. So you're thinking, how long does it take? We just wanted some leaf bags and some paint, and still waiting. So, I mean, bless their hearts, they're struggling with their staff to be able to fill what I'm sure is a lot of online orders. But again, it's at times like those that you're thinking, oh, I'm busy here at home, and then I'm just going to boot out and do this, and you're going, oh, no, it's not normal times right now. So sometimes a little bit tough to remember, and especially if you happen to be like me and you're perfectly happy keeping busy at home. So this really hasn't impacted me from the standpoint of being bored or feeling closeted. I mean, my other business, which is typically my main business. Usually this is my hobby business. It's kind of flipped right now because my other business is non-existent during all of this. I do a lot of executive coaching and training in leadership and personal development and body language training. But obviously nobody needs any of that now. And quite honestly, even when this is over, probably won't for the foreseeable future. So in a lot of respects, I'm looking now at the possibility that this becomes my main business in the future, because I can't imagine that when the virus threat has abated, it's not going to be life as normal. It's not like all of a sudden businesses are going to say, hey, yeah, we're going to hire coaches and we're going to be offering training, and they're not going to be spending money that way. In which case, my other business, which I've had for 24, almost 25 years.
More than that.
It's forever.
We've been married for 30 years. So Liz is on watching right now, and Jackie just shared the stream.
Oh, Jackie, you shared it. Thank you, honey. I got to tell you, so important for small businesses. So not just me, anybody. If you're watching their videos and you like them, like them, share them. That's the only way that they're able to grow. If you're on YouTube, and I just started a YouTube channel, like those videos and invest a little bit of time in watching them. Subscribe to those videos. There's, YouTube doesn't even care about you till you have 1,000 subscribers. I think, how many have I got, honey? I got
10 maybe.
No, 19.
Oh, 19.
I was excited this morning. I had 19. So way far away from the 1,000 that I need, or the 4,000 viewing hours and things. So YouTube doesn't even care about you until you hit that mark. And
Sandy just said that, I guess in reference to your Lowe's story.
Yes.
She said, I'm a homebody and love it. Now I'm using all those supplies I hoarded. I mean, inventory.
Yeah, it was hoarding before this. Now it's inventory, right? It's one of those things where I took a lot of abuse from everybody, my kids and my family, about my pantry downstairs. I mean, there's only my husband and myself and our youngest son. My 2 oldest are out with their own homes and kids and stuff. But so it's just the 3 of us here. And I've got an extra fridge, and I've got a stand-up freezer downstairs. I got 2 pantries. I like to have options when I go to cook. I'm not let me plan the week out in advance. So I like to have everything there. So then all of this stuff happened, and quite honestly, we could eat for a couple of months, from just what I've got in stock, only because I like options. So now nobody's laughing at me now. I maybe didn't anticipate the toilet paper rush. So I might not have had the stock on that one, but my daughter is a toilet paper hoarder always, so she was set. I like this. What do you guys like? This works for you? So I like that combination. I'm going to do this on the other side so then we can see how much we add here, how busy we get. Because I have the option of leaving the sides plain, right? Which is possible because a lot of times people only care about the front. Or adding a little bit of detail or trim. Not sure how far this stencil will go. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Can you all see? I'm trying to stay out of the way, but I'm still figuring out the whole camera angle thing. And I have to tell you, this has like a big ring light, right? And the phone sitting in the middle. Just because not always the lighting is conducive to your being able to see. I tried doing a live at night, and you had to have the ring light on really bright. I could not even see the phone, let alone see if there were comments. So bless their hearts, these women that are on doing this, and men too, but I don't know how they see that there's even comments, let alone be able to read them. So I'm putting it down to age, and not just because I'm a dweeb, but I think it's more that I'm a dweeb and not because I'm old.
Candace is watching as well.
Oh, Candace, honey, hope you're slowly feeling better each day. Okay, so I like to just kind of go roughly over the whole thing first, only because then there's pieces of it that stick and kind of hold it in place for me. And then I'll go back to one edge and slowly start to peel it up and see what's adhered, what hasn't, and then start applying a little bit more pressure into those areas. You can do these onto mirrors or onto glass as well. I have on my website, queenbeecreations1.com, in the decor section, a big picture frame that I did. So I painted the back of the glass white, so it was just solid white. The frame is white. And then I did different transfers onto the glass. So you've got this big floral climbing up, just as a decorative item. Really pretty, but a fun way of being able to just kind of decorate up an old frame if you have one lying around. Make something nice. I know Jamie Ray Vintage, if you follow Jamie Ray at all, then...
So, Sandy says, congratulations, your YouTube hit 21.
Woohoo! All right, Sandy.
She asked, are you getting snow in Burlington? And they're calling for snow on Lake Huron, but not yet.
Okay, we don't have snow, and it started out pretty dreary and pretty cold out, and it's still pretty chilly out there, considering I was out for a bike ride yesterday. I would not want to be out there today, especially too because of the wind, and my thighs are not up into riding my bike into the wind. But we don't have snow. We're not going to have snow today. I can just tell, but I know north of here definitely. My sister-in-law posted a picture. She's up at her home in Halliburton, and they got snow for sure. Which, okay, maybe it's still appropriate to have snow, but this weather is just so freaky weird, right? Like you're wearing shorts one day. All right, I'm not, because I'm always cold, but other people are wearing shorts, and then they're back into, their sweatshirts and things the next day, and it's just not right. I don't mind having snow, but then it needs to stay snowy, right? Not tease me with spring or summer. And okay. Okay, I'm still excited about the 21. There's so long to go for 1,000. If this is what I'm like in the beginning stages, man, it's kind of scary. That's like 10 months of waiting, maybe a year and a half. I don't know how many months that is, but it's a start. I'm getting there. I was just trying to figure out how to be able to do edited videos, right? That I see all these people that they don't post lives, they post edited videos. So I was thinking, well, okay, some people aren't going to want to watch like part 1, part 2, part 5 of furniture makeover. Or, oh my God, that woman talks too long. So I thought, oh, I could cut and paste them, I could condense it, put a little music, people would have a good time. I don't know how to do that.
Sandy says, yay, I'm almost at 100. I hear you, girlfriend.
Sandy, am I following you? Okay, if I'm not following you, drop in your link. Everybody else that sees this should be able to follow you. So I will subscribe, honey. So let me know if it's a company name I'm looking for, if I'm not always following. So Mackenzie, I think I'm following you already.
Margaret says, I can't see what you're doing to the bottom of the dresser.
Okay, so Margaret, this is a weird angle for me. I am going to scoot out of the way and you can see, look at the other side. I'm doing exactly that. Oh, can you see that? So that's what I'm doing. I'm just rubbing the transfer on. Hey, Sandy, I think I followed you last night, maybe. A little tricky just at these edges here. And then this one's done. And then Margaret, I'll scoot out of the way so you get a better look. One last little piece. Woohoo! Oh, back into my dog. Okay, so let me just burnish this in. Oh, let me grab another little piece because I can see an edge I didn't quite get. An air bubble down here. So definitely don't skip this step. Like sometimes, you know, you just look and it looks all good and you're kind of very excited about it. But maybe some of it hasn't adhered. And what will happen is that if you don't check and kind of burnish it in, when you go to, you know, if you were going to apply wax with a brush or with a poly, then you kind of hit it and you pull it up. And
Margaret says, I can't see the bottom of the dresser at all.
You can't see it at all. It's showing up on screen, no problem. Nick, do you see it on screen?
Yeah.
Okay, honey, I'm tilting for you. See if you can see now. Can you see the bottom? That's the design down on the bottom so far. And then we added this little strip across the top. Okay, Margaret, let me know if you can see. I don't know why that's cutting off for you.
Maybe her screen is not centered or something.
Depending upon maybe, yeah, okay, maybe your screen is not centered on there. Because it's showing up on my screen that actually people are missing the lid of this, the top of this. Okay, so now we're looking at adding this other little strip across the top. But let me make sure I put it on the same way as I did the other one. And I'm doing the little tiny diamonds so you can see. these little diamonds across the bottom. So let me measure that out. And I'll just a little bit past there. So you guys that are watching, have you used many transfers? Have you done this yourself yet? Think of it from the furniture makeover perspective. If you do furniture, if you paint furniture, but think of it too from the standpoint of even small decor items, like we were saying that if you're more of a crafter than you are a furniture painter, right? That there's a lot of people that will get some of the big florals and they'll cut some of the florals out and they'll paint up a canvas, they'll apply the floral. Maybe they'll use one of the transfers that has a lot of really detailed writing on it, and they'll use a little bit of that. People will do it with some of their cards if you like to do cards. So there's a lot of other uses for this. We were talking earlier about being able to maybe get like a terracotta pot and paint it up in these colors and use some of the trim to be able to do a matching pot to use for staging. There's a lot of the decor items that I do because of staging, right? That I would create certain pieces or candlesticks and things just so that I have them to be able to use for some of my staging, my photos. And then I started to do extras for people because people were looking at my photos going, hey, I don't want to buy your dresser, but I'd like to buy the candlesticks that you've got, or, is that vase for sale? Well, what's wrong with my dresser? But, so I started to do some of the small decor items, and which is perfect for me anyway, because in the evenings when I don't have the light to be able to work on some of the bigger pieces, I got to be doing something. So it's been fun for me while I had some of the pieces to be able to do and to be able to offer, and I'll probably keep that up even in the future after the whole virus thing is ended, because it will end, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's start a little bit more specifically on the edge. Okay, we can see that's detached. And there's certain surfaces, if you're doing this on glass, obviously on glass, you're not pushing the heck out of it like I am right now. You're being a little bit more delicate. But if you're doing it on glass, you're doing it on mirrors, man, it adheres so quick, so easy.
So lumber mill, sorry, it's Sandy. I crashed, Facebook, Mackenzie lumber mill.
Okay, so Sandy, yeah, because we were talking last night.
And Ollie Muir is watching you.
Okay, so you guys, anybody that wants to, Sandy, I was watching Sandy's video last night on YouTube. They do a really, really cool technique. This is what I was talking with her last night about. Not that we knew each other beforehand. Where they're taking like huge blow torches and they're burning the surface of tables and then sanding them down and then burning again, getting color and texture. And Sandy, I mean, you know a heck of a lot more than I do, but it's really, really cool. So she's posted her link. You guys can follow her link onto YouTube and be able to check out what they're doing. And they're here in Ontario, in a place that Inverhuron that I had never heard of. So hands up, you guys, if you've heard of this, because that was part of it. I suck at geography at the best of times. Trust me, I get lost shopping inside malls, let alone anywhere else. So when I always had to travel for my other business, it's like my family's kissing me goodbye. She's never going to find her way home again because it was so bad. And I had to travel to like Switzerland and Thailand, and it's like, oh my God, I'm never going to find my way home. But that was Inver Huron. Just, it sounds like someplace I should visit. It sounds cool. But yeah, so check her out. Check her out on YouTube as well, guys. She was doing some pretty cool stuff. I gotta go back and check out some more videos. I was in major YouTube video mode last night, so discovering new people to follow, and always a good thing, especially if you only have a small number of people. These people deserve love. Nobody's going to find them on YouTube unless they get sent there. And this is really a time where a lot of small businesses are maybe not going to make it through. So they all need your love. The big companies, they got resources to kind of weather some of these storms a little bit better. Small businesses, not so much. So if liking a video, following them on Facebook or YouTube, or sharing helps them out, easy enough to do. Okay. What are we thinking? I'm liking that so far. Okay, so I'm going to leave you guys here. A little bit of a surprise as to where I put transfers next, but it's the same process. I'm going to kind of hold them up, see what looks good, cut them to fit, put them on, and then I will be finishing this piece with wax. I have a love affair with wax as opposed to poly, to tell you the truth. It's always my preference. If it's buffed, it cures over time just as hard. It will repel water. And I just love the feel of the wax finish. And it's not, everybody likes to think that it needs a lot of care, and it really doesn't. So I will probably wax, but once I put the finish on, then I'll take a look at whether or not I want to add a little bit of gold.
Jack just can't wait to see the transformation.
I know, me too, right? So, but I am thinking just a little bit of gold is kind of maybe what we have to do, kind of picks up a little bit of the yellow tones in the transfer. So you guys go, have a good day, have a fun day, do something creative, do something fun. This is the time for it. I'm going to be working on this, which is my fun part, because then I have to go back and still work on trying to figure out video editing. So I'm trying to do a little thing, and then I go onto YouTube and look at videos, and then I go back, and it is not an intuitive process for me. So I'm not having fun, and I needed the escape. So thank you for escaping with me. I'll see you guys soon, and maybe we'll do up some pots to match, or a couple of other small crafts. I got some other furniture I'm picking up on the weekend coming out of a house of someone I know. So it'll all be good. Take care, you guys.